Today marks exactly 6 months since Hurricane Maria slammed into Puerto Rico. The Category 4 storm knocked out power to the entire island. At least 64 people were killed. And after the storm, more than 135,000 people reportedly left Puerto Rico for the U.S. mainland. It is considered one of the most logistically challenging natural disasters in modern American history. Today, less than 10% of the island is still without power, and all 68 hospitals are open. David Begnaud returned to one hard-hit area that's still struggling to recover.
This is where Hurricane Maria made landfall 6 months ago, Yabucoa, on the southeastern part of the island. These days, you'll get a pretty good cell phone signal. Water's running, but people here haven't had electricity since September. Jamadi's a woman who fishes for a living, and now she's working to rebuild her home by hand. We had 35 hours on the ground to see as much as possible, and so we reached out to locals on social media and said, what are the must-sees? And the response was overwhelming. They said Yabucoa and the central part of the island.
On September 20th in Yabucoa, 155-mile-per-hour winds brought hell and high water. 65% of people living here still don't have electricity.
La primera brigada.
Mayor Rafael Cerrillo says the first team to arrive to restore power took 75 days.
75 days after the hurricane?
Desperation has a relentless hold on people here.
The mayor told us a few days ago a local man took his life, a man in his 60s. He lived at this blue house right here. Apparently the same day he was found hanging from a tree, the same day, power was restored to his house.
18-year-old Denise Pagan found the man. He was her neighbor.
De la gente.
The thing that somebody would take her own life is something that really gets to her. She said she feels that she's too young to see something like that. She's only 18 years old.
Relief is coming largely from volunteers, like those from All Hearts and Hands, people wearing purple, replacing blue tarps with actual roofs. From Yabucoa, one of the thousands of social media messages we received led us to Las Piedras.
The woman reached out to us on social media and said, you've got to see what conditions my bedridden father has been living in for the last 6 months. Hello, I'm David. Nice to meet you.
The Santana sisters introduced us to their 90-year-old father, Guillermo.
When I shook his hand, he's hot,
warm.
he's
Yeah.
warm to the touch.
Yeah,
The day before we arrived, someone brought a solar panel system that allows them to have the light we have in the room, allows them to operate this respiratory machine.
More or less, we're surviving, but it's not easy. It's not easy.
As we drove around the island, a majority of the traffic lights that we saw were not working. But overall, progress is being made.
Within the last few days, the power generation here on the island has hit 99%. So we wanted to talk to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, which has the task of helping to restore electricity on the island.
The magnitude of destruction of this power grid is beyond anything that we've seen in America post-storm. 80% destruction of the grid, these poles, these lines, etc. And using helicopters, we've brought more to the island in the last month because you have to use helicopters in many cases to attach and then pull the wires across a given valley.
A lot of people have said to me, are they making it better than it was before the storm?
We're not burying the lines because if we were doing that, we wouldn't have power back today to 92% of the populace.
Burying it is better, safer, stronger, but it would take a whole lot more time.
It would take a whole lot more time, and that may be a future state, future decision.
See you. I'm glad you're well.
We first met Ponce police officer Daniel Pacheco last October.
Things have gotten a lot better.
Overall, he says life is improving.
The grocery stores have the food, they're stocked. You can actually go and get grocery and don't have to do a 2-hour line.
But in the mountainous middle region of the island, Utuado is still in the dark. Headlights guided our way to Esther Rosario's home. She runs a generator at night.
How are you doing?
No, not so good.
It's hard without water, she told us. She's housing her son, daughter-in-law, and 3 grandchildren because their home was destroyed during Hurricane Maria.
Esa es la vida. That's the life.
That's the life.
That's the life.
It has been our experience that Puerto Ricans are some of the most resilient Americans we've ever met. After the storm, there was a rush to get things done in order to save lives. But now that rush has shifted to getting those things done before the next hurricane season begins on June 1st. For CBS This Morning, I'm David Begnaud in Yabucoa, Puerto Rico.
Thanks, David. Great reporting.
Yeah, June 1st just seems like tomorrow. I'm so glad that he's showing that story again, because even though they've made progress, you see they still have so much work to do there. And Puerto Rico is such a beautiful place.
That's right. And man, the next storm season coming, just barely
The
getting
determination of Puerto Ricans,
That's right.
too.
That's right.